Good cognac. My good people, how you guys doing today? It's the Outlaw. Alright, quick story short, I'm not gonna hold y'all up too long, but this is an idea that I came up with, right? We're gonna add a series of videos to the channel called Guns and Coffee. And pretty much guns, I mean, all of us are, you know, 2A advocates, gun enthusiasts and all that good stuff. And I'm a coffee lover as well. And, coffee is something that, pretty much, people enjoy coffee and have like good conversations over coffee, right? So the name of these videos that's going to be in addition to the channel is called Guns and Coffee, where we have discussions about firearms and, just give each other feedback and all that good stuff. So pretty much that enables me to be able to drop footage without just doing a dedicated firearm review every time I post a video. All right, because of course you all know the situation with me and the ranges being so far away. So, I thought that was a good idea. And all these true story, by the way. And the one I'm going to tell right now is a very interesting story. All right, so, I will say this about me. I'm not a person that actually just get involved in relationships just really quick. I just don't do stuff like that because the world we live in today is not like it should be. People have strange motives and all that good stuff, right? So like I said, I just don't jump into a relationship just really fast. So with that being said, I used to work with this young lady, man. Oh man, when I tell you, man, this young lady was beautiful, man. Oh, she was so beautiful, and I wanted her so bad, so bad, really bad. So basically, what I did, right, just started off small, lit small conversation, see, compliment her, like. And not just a direct compliment. It can be just something that just pops up during the conversation, like woo woo woo, how your day going, beautiful, some, little small talk like that. Women catch all the good stuff, right? So after doing stuff like this for so long, me and this young lady, we became, pretty close or whatever, right? So what ended up happening is we had this little, we have these meetings outside of work sometime, right? And we was at this meeting outside of work and well away from the plant. So basically, we were just sitting around having a conversation about pretty much anything, right? So I said, man, you should let me take you out one night. I mean, when you're free and all that good stuff, everything gonna be, you don't worry about nothing. Only thing you owe me just a good time. You know what I'm saying? Like, pretty much that was the agreement. And I mean, I know quite a few guys that like ask this woman out, and she would kind of always kind of like hesitant and kind of like fall back or whatever, right? So when I asked her out, I mean, she agreed with it so quick, it kind of surprised me, right? So all right, cool. So man, we went out, man. It was an awesome night, man. And we grabbed a move and grabbed something to eat. And also, I do like this little bartending thing, and man, I make some hell of a drinks. So you know what? I'm thinking of, that may be something else to add to the channel. That'll make good content too, because I'm pretty sure everybody like to have a nice little drink every once in a while. Some more than others. But, that's how that night went. And man, it was, like I said, it was perfect, man. So I think that it was the very next morning. I woke up to a text message from her, right? So I'm like, of course, I kind of gave myself a pat on the back. I'm like, must have been a pretty good night. So anyway, you know, skip past all the small talk, right? A lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages, and all this good stuff. So here comes day two. Probably a few weeks after that. Well, I say about a couple of weeks after that, right? And we out riding and just having conversation, man. And the topic came up about sports. I think it was football or something like that, right? And I'm not into sports at all. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever the case may be. I mean, if you like it, I love it, man, cool. But me, I am not a sports fanatic. I mean, all of them is boring to me, right? So when I pretty much told her that I'm like really not into sports, so it kind of took her by surprise, So she was like, so if you're not into sports, like, what are you into? So my thing is, of course, guns and firearms, right? And of course, I pretty much figured she picked up on the car thing or whatever because she see the cars that I drive and all that good stuff, right? So when I told her about the gun thing, right, and I'm like, like competitive shooting, I'm just trying to make it sound innocent as possible, even though it's an innocent situation. But the thing about it is, the gun culture is so frowned upon by ignorance, right? And when I say ignorance, I'm not even speaking in like a negative term. I mean ignorant. It's just a lack of knowledge. Usually people always think that if it's something that's dealing with guns, it's always something negative. They don't look at guns or like fun recreational tools. We can go out and provide and hunt. Provide food for the family. They don't look at stuff like that. Guns are not fun. I'm talking about to people that don't know stuff about the culture. So I was telling her that, and she took it kind of cool, right? So when we got back to the house that night, I decided to show her a few of my pieces out of my collection, right? So mind you, man, everything that's going on with this young lady, I mean, the vibe getting so tight, man. We talk, we chat. I mean, we finish each other's sentences, man. All that is going really, really good, right? So we get back to the house, and I decided to show a few firearms, right? So out of all the firearms I have, mind you, that well, I'm just not gonna throw a number out there, but I own quite a few firearms, right? And matter of fact, the reviews that I've done on YouTube so far, man, that's not even a quarter of the firearms that I own. I mean, that's not a quarter of the firearms that I own. I mean, it's not. I own quite a few firearms, right? So I think out of all the firearms I had, I think I showed her like six. And it was some that I tried to give it to her, and she like wouldn't touch it. She was kind of hesitant, like, what are that? Like, what are you doing with that, right? So anywho, the rest of the night, man, went fairly decent. I seen that she was kind of getting kind of like, wow, like eyes like started getting bigger and bigger, like when I show her certain stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's enough for one night, right? So when I tell you, when she left that night, got a good solid hug, and a like kiss on the cheek, goodbye, and all that good stuff. Like, all right, I see you tomorrow, whatever. All right, okay, man, when I tell you, when that young lady left that night, I hadn't heard from her no more. Hey, oh man, I'm not making this up, man. I promise you, I'm being dead honest. When that young lady left my house that night, I didn't get a return text message. If I called her, I didn't get an answer. When I seen her at work, if I spoke, she spoke back with her hand. She never did say anything out of her mouth. She spoke with her hand, and that was it. She just kept going. And I'm like, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what the hell was going on, man. They tell you the truth, man. I was kind of heartbroken by it. I'm like, damn, everything was going so good, man. What the hell happened? And just being honest, man, a young lady actually, man, she left the plant, man. She ended up getting a job transfer and some more stuff. Now, the whole job transfer thing, it had nothing to do with me. I think that was something she already had planned or whatever, but man, the young lady ended up moving out of town and everything. And I mean, for the life of me, I couldn't understand what was going on because I'm a respectful guy. I didn't come on to it, like in a sexual way. I didn't do any of that. I did everything like textbook perfect, man. I didn't understand. So, long story short, years later, as a matter of fact, that's what it was. I was making drinks and I was posting the drinks onto Facebook, right? And she seen one and she commented on it, which took me by surprise because like I hadn't got a word from this lady for over a year. So woo the woo the woo, what I'm saying? Like I want one of them. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, come by the house and I make you one. All right. So she actually ended up coming to town and she actually came by the house and we had drinks. So we ended up getting on a conversation about what happened with the whole the whole lit conversation thing that we were doing. We wouldn't even call it dating because we hadn't got that far yet, right? But she ended up telling me like the gun scared the shit out of her. Like I didn't even know that it was legal for civilians to have those. So in other words, like stuff like AR-15s, AKs, and stuff like that, she didn't actually think it was legal for civilians to own those. She thought that was like a military type firearm. And by me having so many, she was thinking that I was into some stuff that I ain't have no business and all that good stuff. So when she telling me this, man, my eyes like, I'm like, why the hell? This is what I'm thinking. Like, why the hell would you allow your mind to even go that far? Like, no, don't do that. Don't think like that. And I'm like, man, I'm a caring dude. I'm like, you see me all the time, like, and I'm quiet. I really don't say too much. So I'm like, so why would you think that I was like some kind of lunatic or whatever? She was like, you be the quiet people that snap out and do crazy shit, right? And I don't do a lot of cursing, so hey, don't take my profanity to offense or whatever. But I'm just repeating exactly what she said. So I'm like, But what actually made her end up coming back around and conversating, because this young lady here, she real close with like the male members of her family, and I think exactly what happened is she had a conversation with one of her male family members about what happened, and he was explaining to her like, no, these firearms are not illegal for civilians to own. If you got a clean background and all that, I mean, you can go to a gun store and literally in 60 seconds you can have one and be on your merry way with it. I'm like, they're not illegal. So that's what happened with that, man. And like I just thought that was crazy, man, for stuff to be going so good and then just all of a sudden just disappear. Like, I mean, I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? It blew my mind. But I guess the positive side of the story is we end up reconnecting, and our friendship is actually still cool. Of course, the whole relationship thing, I mean, of course, that's out the window, right? Because she lived a million miles away from him. But I just thought that was, man, a real interesting story that kind of like surround like the gun culture or whatever. So, yeah, man, I actually got dumped, man, before I actually got into a relationship because of my firearm collection, man. I thought that was horrible, man. I'm like, something that I really love actually cost me something, man. And if I can rewind it, of course I do everything the same, because I mean, listen, and I would not put my hobbies behind or hide my hobbies or change who I am for anything. I am who I am. I love what I love, and I mean, that's it. Take it or leave it, right? So I just thought that was really interesting, man, and it was a wild story. So with that being said, man, you guys tell me what you think, and share some of you. I mean, you guys share some of your stories or whatever. All right. So let me know how you feel about that. Style law. Y'all have a good night.